The name of the session is Cartooning in Trying Times. And as a media person, and as Ravi just pointed out to me, that it's not enough to say that the media is the big victim, because very often the media is just sort of rolling back and letting itself be run over. And I don't know how many of you are old enough to have remembered the emergency when it was famously said that when the media was asked to bend, it chose to crawl. And I think now we're seeing a lot of a very dangerous trend, which is the embedded journalist. So cartoonists who have always held up, the flag for the sharp saber cut at all kinds of establishment and all kinds of irregularities and injustices. I mean, I would really like to ask this question: that how difficult is it? Are cartoonists a threatened species today?
Uh, can you hear me? Sorry. Okay, great. Yeah, thanks, but yes, I think that definitely needs to be
No,
answered.
you need to go close.
No?
Maybe speak closer. Is this audible? Yeah, it is.
Hello.
Maybe
No, that.
speak closer like that.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Um, I remember I was old enough during the emergency times, Bachi, and it so happened that I think it was the Indian Express that one of my favorite cartoons, Abu Abraham, would contribute to. He would have his blank spaces in all in black. He just did not, uh, publish any of his works. The paper didn't. Now, I do have an advantage over many of the others, including my dear friend Ravi here, because I'm a freelancer. I've always been a freelancer, and I ensure that I will stay that way because I don't want my judgment to, others' judgment to be forced upon me. For me to go to these editorial meetings and say, you have to do this is the way, that way. For me, in my case, if the editor does not like it, I'll say, okay, don't publish it, I'll send you another one tomorrow. But it is a very serious issue now because 20 years back, the cartoons that I did, it would be very difficult for me to get them published now. I wouldn't mind them getting published. There are two topics that upset everyone, me especially the most, and I'm sure Rabi also, and that is religion.
Yes.
Religion, number one, and religion, number two. That is hurting everybody, including people like me. And I'm seriously, I have got threatening letters, threatening emails, threatening all sorts of things that are happening. Ravi?
Actually, let Ravi answer this question, and then maybe we can ask you to do a cartoon which something that really bothers you a great deal. That would be nice, right? That you kind of seen the live craft happening.
Yo, Bachi.
So, okay, my answer to the question whether we are a what species threatened species, I think it's nearly extinct. It is. I mean, it is could be because of some of the reasons what Ponnappa is talking about, but mainly I think it is not a very lucrative career. I mean, somebody who spent about like 20 years in political cartooning, some of my colleagues, they don't get not even a lakh a month, and you can't live on it. You know, like they would see their colleagues or people who are their peers, go advance and then can make more money for them. So today, there's not much money in it. That's one of the reasons why newspapers do not hire political cartoonists.
Okay. I just like to take off from what Ponnappa said, and that kind of being too close to establishment is, I think, the death knell and the death sentence of the political cartoonist or the any cartoonist. Because I remember the Times of India, when the whole editorial office moved to Delhi, Lakshman alone refused to go because he said, once I go there, I'll get co opted into that whole political establishment.
But I don't really agree with you there. I mean, maybe you're 99% right, but we mentioned Abu, one of the finest cartoonists India's ever produced, or even Britain. I mean, he drew for, I think, Telegraph for a few years. You know, Guardian, yeah. So, are you guys familiar with Abu Abraham's work, any of you? So, that's a minority vote. So, I mean, he was one of the finest. Abu was very close to Indira Gandhi. In those days, the Mrs. Gandhi had this, the Nehruvian concept of a darbar, so an intellectual darbar, a creative darbar, which had Ramesh Thalpar, you had Abu Abraham, you had Kamala Batsi, and it was kind of an intellectual drawing room kind of a thing where ideas were discussed, blah blah blah. And Abu was very, very much inside the coterie, and Abu was given a Rajya Sabha MP. I think the only political cartoonist, the only cartoonist to be made a Rajya Sabha MP was Abu Abraham. But when the emergency was declared, he did not support the emergency. In fact, I don't know whether you remember the famous cartoon of Indira Gandhi or somebody's hand coming through the bathroom door, and Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed lying in the bathtub and signing the proclamation, the emergency. Will there be anything else, ma'am? And this is a man who was actually made a Rajya Sabha MP and supported, was part of the coterie of Mrs. Gandhi. So, what I'm saying is, a cartoonist can be close
Ravi,
to power.
Ravi, we need to be brief. We're
Oh,
running short of time.
oh, sorry. It's a novelist.
Yes, it's absolutely important. And Abu, Abu, he invited me to a workshop of his where youngsters were being trained. And he told me one thing in the aside as we would sit in the evenings. He said, stay off religion. And that was about 30 years ago. So he must have had some problems with religion himself. But
So, Ponnappa, would you like to do a cartoon just off the cuff on something that bothers you a great deal? We don't mind if he does a cartoon on religion, do we? No one's going to throw stones at him. No, no. We this whole crowd is here to stop you from being taken to the barricades. Come forward.
for those who cannot read it, way at the back. This is donors wanted.
Great.
Now, but to be honest with you, I do not know how many newspapers would publish this. Most of the cartoons, the kind of of this genre that I do it directly for no payment on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I find that far more relaxing, and I have far more freedom there, Bachi, than in the newspapers.
Yeah, but you see, Ponnappa, maybe with your great Kurga inheritances, you can sit back and do it free of charge. But as Ravi pointed out, someone's got to pay the bills. And it is really sad if, on, sharp, comment, which only the cartoonist can manage in that one square, is going to become a threatened species. We talk, big about Charlie Hebdo and things like that, but the way in which things are happening in this country, it's really, really dangerous. I was really going to ask that apart from the political cartoon, are there any other kinds? And of course, religion is politics. Actually, everything is politics. So, is there any other kind?
Pornography. Much as I would like to do it, and I'm sure Rabi would like to do it too. No? Oh, you're not a saint, Rabi. Come on. I know you, man. So, it's, pornography is something that there is a line, a Lakshman Rekha that you really cannot cross. It's not easy. And believe me, uh, religion and pornography and, and oh gosh, bless his soul.
Well, since you talked about the line that cannot be crossed, Ravi and I were talking about distortion, and no, we were talking about morality. That in a cartoon, there is a certain morality which you might choose to impose upon yourself, and where is the line, and how do you kind of know which is the line that you cannot cross, and maybe you can show us the line that cannot be crossed.
Another flex sport, because I don't want to. Oh yeah, yeah. That's. Oh yeah, let's do it. Okay, I'll help you. You can't do it alone. What am I supposed to do? Distortion. No. Uh, no, what I would like to talk about is this whole thing about when people see a cartoon, they said, okay, it all starts with the nose, right? Or, why is it that it looks ugly or etc. 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 The greatest subversion a cartoonist can do is that it's not just words. When a writer writes something about somebody, you have to assume the picture of the person in your own mind. But a cartoonist gives you the package. Okay, and it's interesting to see how a person evolves, a politician evolves. Okay, now I'm talking about, let's say, 1972, 3. Okay, so Indira Gandhi, looked something like this. Okay, can you recognize her? You can. Okay. Then by the time it was 1980, when she came back, it became something like this. Okay. Then by the time it was, I would say before she died, she became something like this. So you see, what? You see it? You can't see it? Is that better? Yeah. Yeah. Somebody is. You can't see it? That's a pity. So I don't know. Turn it this way. Okay. That better? So you can see how the face has progressed. It's the same person. And it's not just age. It's a perception of Indira Gandhi. Right? No, that's what I'm saying. So this is what the cartoonist does. He can give you this, he can give you this, he can give you this. And the same person. And this has become this because of what she's done or how people perceive her. So we actually show a mirror, like a sideways mirror, where you can see, not us, but what we're showing. So that is what I'm talking about, distortion.
So the cartoonist. So doesn't the cartoonist kind of pick up this one feature and exaggerate it? So, for instance, in Mrs. Gandhi's case, it was the nose. But correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I don't see that many caricatures of our current lot of leaders. Not okay. So you that may be the polite explanation, or it may be a chicken and egg kind of situation.
Sandeep, I think, is the best political cartoonist who's drawing today. A young chap in his early 30s, drawing for the Times of India. He completely dismisses the view that a cartoonist or a journalist is scared of Modi. I mean, if you want to be scared of Mr. Modi, it's a voluntary thing. I mean, it's not that Mr. Modi calls you up and says, shit, man, I'm going to jail you. Right? So, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if you saw the cartoon today. It was the CBI, where, of course, it's not about Modi, but it's about Rahul, where this is the cartoon in the Times of India, where Rahul is sleeping and dreaming, and it's as if the cage parrot is like the stork, and the stork is kind of delivering maybe the new Rahul. So that was the. we're having a jugalbandi here. So,
No, let me ask you one thing. Okay, I'll play the popular jester today. What would you like me to draw on? Give me a topic. Give me a topic which is, like, what do you think works? Such an undemanding audience. Me too? Me too? Okay. Me too. You have a rubber? That doesn't? No, it doesn't work. Yeah, it does.
This is how cartoonists erase their work.
There is that. Okay, me too. All right. Mm, me too. Right?
Oh, Ravi, I really thought that was me too and her telephone number.
stop it,
Sorry.
Ponnappa. You heard what Ponnappa said. He said, oh, Ravi has done Me Too and then gone on to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because, it's a mounting thing. And so Ponnappa had his dig and said, oh, I thought it's Me Too and her telephone number, which is a very, very sexist thing. You're not supposed to laugh any longer. Okay. All right.
What's it done now? Oh.
Okay, I'm sure you guys have questions to ask. We've got quite a lot of time, 10 minutes, a little less. So go ahead.
Sir, you actually resemble Abu Abraham. He does.
I have a question to Mr. Ponnappa. Inspired by this cartoon, my question is, I read somewhere, 100 years ago when Vivekananda went to Kerala, he came and said Kerala is a Bhrantalaya, a lunatic asylum. But today, do you think Kerala is a bigger lunatic asylum today?
No, sir. I don't think. I'm sorry. I don't think it is true, really, for the simple reason that I took an oath, not a religious one, but oath according to my work. And I told Abu, I will try not to draw anything on religion, but it's only on occasions like this I can. But I don't think Kerala has any serious problems that way. They will be able to sort it out. The only big problem that they're facing right now is that they think religion is higher than the Supreme Court. But our constitution does not think so at all. I think it's the other way around. I think we have to respect the Supreme Court's decision to say that women should be allowed. And I can draw very harsh, hard hitting cartoons, and there will be at least 15 people in the audience who would like to kill me, not now or soon after I leave. I can say that we were all born out of mothers who were menstruating. It's unbelievable that we put down a woman just because of a natural body cause that has caused such pain. It's got nothing to do with religion. It has to do only with false manhood.
Hi, Ponnappa. If you could just share your view on, through a cartoon preferably, on how do you express silence from the political class, especially the ruling party?
The ruling party, how do you?
Express silence of the ruling party on key issues through your work.
Sorry, I can't really stand up, but we've been talking about the mire of politics in which we have all fallen into. But talking about cartoonists as such, how come 50 years ago we had a whole weekly called Shankar's Weekly, which a lot of people used to buy for their cartoons? Is there anything like that, or is that they dead and gone for us?
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, this one? I can hold both. Ravi, you'd like to hold one? Okay. I think 50 years ago when Shankar's Weekly was on, dear brother, 50 years ago, there were far few cartoonists. Maybe you could count them on the fingers of both the hands. And the publications too were far few. And now we have so many of them. And I think during the time that Ravi and I used to have incredible fights over our cartoon strips, I did something called, sorry, I'm just digressing, something called the Raja of Ouch. And Ravi, now you say, Ravi started something called Nabab of Ouch. Anyway, that's different. But I would think that Ravi Shankar's magazine, well, you remember that. Ravi Shankar's magazine was very relevant for that particular period of time, and they had far more freedom at hitting out at politicians. People like Nehru would tell him, draw more of me. No, Shankar, I beg your pardon. Don't spare me, Shankar, that's right. But now there are very few politicians who will really appreciate political cartoons. I don't think the cartoons that are specifically draw for the Times of India here in Karnataka, I don't think any of the politicians look at it at all, except that two decades ago, 3 decades ago, when Bangalore was the chief minister, I did a cartoon of him on Tula Bara and somebody else putting briefcases on top, and I believe that went to the Prime Minister's office, and in 1 week he was sacked. And it is running time. I hope that answers your questions. One sec.
But actually, where cartooning is really alive and thriving, that's the vernacular media. The regional media, the cartoonists are on a roll then and now. I know about Malayalam, where I come from, Malayali. I read all the newspapers, they are full of cartoons. So, the English cartoonists, yes. Yes, there aren't that many. I'm digressing a bit. I want to be slightly more boring than I usually am. When Rajiv Gandhi died, I took off on a cartoon, which is drawn on Kennedy. I drew a airplane, just flying away into the night. And the caption was, "Good night, sweet prince. A flock of angels sing thee to thy rest." And that's from Hamlet. If I draw that damn thing today, how many people have heard of Hamlet? It would be completely irrelevant to translate a literary experience into cartoons, because there was an intellectual quality to cartooning when Vijayan was drawing, or Abu was drawing, etc., etc. But today it's not there. It's not there in the audience. It's not there, the cartoonist or the journalist. So that is one of the reasons I think.
Also, gosh, when I listen to you, I forget what I have to say. Could you just somebody take him away from here? Okay. See,
I'm here with the time. We have a minute. We 1 minute and 42 seconds. The absolutely accurate Bachi Karkaria will not let me get away with 42 seconds. We have space for one last question.
One second. Just
you
after
haven't
this,
finished. Sorry.
I have a collection of cartoons, even as a freelancer, that the editors over different publications that I would contribute for said, sorry, we cannot publish this. Perhaps if I do come out with a book, I might come out with the unpublished cartoons of Ponnappa. Yeah,
So-
actually, there is no cartoon or book of mine at all. And it might so happen, excellent, that makes the two of us, brother, bro.
Okay, so over to you, Daraz. Thank
think
you
that's
very
the-
much. Thank you very much to my two wonderful cartoonists. They, as always, made the writer irrelevant and managed to say everything. So thank you very much. And thank you for such a large audience. Thank you.